Good morning, guys. Hope you're doing well. Today I want to talk about sort of a follow-up to last week's video. So for those of you that watched or listened, I talked about why I've been posting less on social media, especially in regards to my personal life, because in reflection I often felt the personal life posts had some selfish intent and less value add. A quick example is just, there were certain years I posted, on my birthday, maybe with the intention of kind of showing a good picture of myself and then seeing how many maximum likes I could get. And overall, lately I've been feeling like I want to go more towards posting things of value add. So someone followed up with me on the video and asked me the following. I really appreciated you sharing why you've been posting less overall on social media, especially with regards to your personal life. I have a question though. You talk about only wanting to post stuff that comes out of pure intent and joy. That's quite a high bar to set for your relationship with posting on social media. I'm curious, do you think we should all be holding ourselves to that standard? And how do we define what is deemed pure positive intent and unselfish? Aren't those terms individually defined? So the first question I would say on whether everyone should hold themselves to like the value-based standard that I am trying to move towards, definitely no, not at all. I want to be clear, in any video that I'm doing, I'm sharing my perspective. I'm not saying that my philosophy, my way of doing something or living is better than anyone else's. I'm not trying to change you or in any way. In this case, I was just trying to provide perspective, on a big change in behavior in my life. Obviously, for those that have followed me for a little bit, I went from posting, every single day for 2.5 years to, this year, pretty seldomly posting. So I wanted to provide context on why I've had that change in behavior. This is the way that video was trying to explain. This is the way I see my relationship with social media and what works for me. And obviously that perspective comes from an extreme case, and so you have to also take that context in. How many people are posting every day for 2.5 years? How many people posted a weekly vlog sharing their personal life for 2.5 years like I did? There's probably not a ton of people that fit into that camp. So I had a very different usage with social media compared to the average person who might post like 3 to 10 times in total all year. The other thing that's also important to understand is, people use social media in different ways, and value means different things to them than how I define value add. So for me, more value-based content means making more grateful living content on life topics rather than sharing personal life stuff. But there are many other ways that people provide value in this world. Comedians, for example, post funny observations and takes on society. Their content provides a lot of value to many people who are just looking for a little bit of a laugh or a little bit of, escapism from the seriousness of the world. And, they should still post their content, out of joy, because they're trying to make people laugh, brighten people's day, and make people not take life as seriously. In terms of your second question, I think you nailed it with your follow-up. The third question you asked, I do think pure positive intent and unselfishness is individually defined. What I define as, and I said it in the video, but what I define as pure intent, or posting something out of joy, is going to be different than you. I gave 2 examples of maybe posting a friend's celebration, or a couple friends getting together, or me going to a Celtics game. But your definition might be going to a new restaurant and capturing a picture of the meal, or playing video games, or going to a concert. Whatever it is that you define as joy, that's what you would be posting. I think I was pretty clear, but basically, what I'm trying to say in essence is, I'm trying, like, for example, if I go to the Red Sox game with 3 friends, for me at this stage, I don't know what value that has in sharing that on my story or sharing that as a post. I don't think, and again, you all can communicate and, give me a counterexample or a counter argument to why, no, it does provide value to you. And obviously I'm open to hearing that. But a lot of that also comes with the context, I should say, that, and I said that in the video, that the most important people in my life, people in my inner circle of best friends, my family, they're informed on what I'm doing. So, like, if I go to a Red Sox game, they're seeing pictures of that whenever they catch up with me. And so my reflection was, if the people I care about know what's going on, is there another reason to broadcast, to everyone else, if the people I really care about already know? And again, I think the major counter-argument to this is, whether it's extended family or old friends, who I don't regularly connect with, maybe for geographical reasons or whatever, but who I have a lot of love for and who have a lot of love for me, they enjoy seeing aspects of my personal life the way I enjoy seeing personal life updates from them, even if we haven't talked in years, because I have love for them and want them to be happy, and I think they feel the same way for me. And so, in that sense, I do think and I do acknowledge that a personal life update like that does provide some value. And I think the way that I reconcile that is, I believe that doing Grateful Living content provides more value than showing a personal outing with friends. And like I said, as humans, we evolve, we change. What you see, from last week's video, what you see today is a moment in time of who I am today. That may change as time goes on. In terms of, this goes to a broader question of selflessness, selfishness. I think one thing I do want to say is multiple things can be true at the same time. A post can be selfless and selfish at the same time. If you post a picture of you and some friends getting together, that could be done for selfish reasons of maybe, just letting people know, how you look or whatever, and you did something, maybe you did something cool with your friends. But it might also be done out of selflessness, value, or out of joy of just sharing the joy you have being with your friends. If you look at, the big time podcasters in the world, right? They have selfless reasons for posting their content, or and just content creators, and it doesn't even need to be podcasters, but content creators in general. They have their selfless reasons for posting that, and maybe, trying to, as we talked about, whatever it is, if they're a comedian, provide a laugh, whatever it is, however they provide that value. But then there's also selfish reasons for posting that, which is, they might need to pay bills so that they, do ad reads or sponsorships. And I think the main thing that we need to understand is there's nothing wrong with that. I think most actions in life that we take as humans are done with a combination of selflessness and selfish intent. Obviously this begs the question, are there any actions that are truly selfless? Again, this will rest on how you define selfless. I think for me, a lot of people define selfless action as any action where you are not concerned for yourself, especially, I would say, with regards to the consequences in terms of seeking external validation or praise. So for me, a simple example of a selfless action would be, donating to a charity, a GoFundMe, a fundraiser anonymously, and not telling anyone that you did it, kind of would fit into that selfless action definition. And again, there's so many nuances to this, because I know someone will message me and say, Arnav, I have a counter argument. The donation that individual made isn't really, even though it's anonymous, isn't really selfless, because the individual is feeling better because of their decision. So then there is aspects of it being selfish. So there's a ton of nuances to everything that we're saying. One thing I would say that's interesting, just because I think a misnomer might be just because something is selfless doesn't mean it's the best action, right? So someone donating anonymously might not actually be the best action, because if they donate with their name and then they share on their social media that they donated to this fundraiser, while that might come off as selfish or bragging, that they're showing off that they're donating to this fundraiser, it may provide more outreach, or more people might find out about the fundraiser, and more people may in turn donate to the fundraiser because of that action. So actually the better action in the real value, which is to raise as much money for the fundraiser, might actually be, quote unquote, the more selfish action of sharing that you donated. Before I get into this whole rabbit hole of selfishness, I think the main point that I'm trying to convey is, first, obviously, please only see my videos as perspective. I'm not trying to preach anything in terms of, a lot of people following what I do. What works for one person often doesn't work for other people. And I think, in general, that pure intent, selfless action, value-added action is all internally defined. And, when that goes to, the selfishness debate, ultimately we as individuals define them in our brain. And ultimately, we are the only ones that know the true intent, the true reason for why we're doing things. So that's the way I think it goes. Hope this has been helpful. And yeah, hope you're well. Thank you guys.